actual conversation about Thorn, the organization that Ashton Kutcher and his ex-wife Demi Moore founded back in 2009, and how, in my opinion, it is virtually a scam that was created to help boost the character of both Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore, primarily Ashton Kutcher. And I'm not just talking about Ashton Kutcher being an inauthentic advocate for a cause that he clearly does not care about. I am talking about the software behind Thorn and how it has been deemed to be incredibly biased and inaccurate, making it more difficult for authorities to correctly identify both victims and perpetrators. I'm going to do my best to explain this as clearly and cohesively as possible. So in 2020, an investigative journalist named Whitney Webb wrote an article, and first of all, shout out to Lily at the Do We Know Them podcast who sent me this article. I do highly recommend that you read this entire article by Whitney Webb if you have time, but if you don't, I'm going to be going over the most valuable pieces of information that Whitney Webb shares with us in this article that allows us to do further research and go down our own rabbit holes and find what I believe to be a very disturbing truth of Ashton Kutcher, so that you can fully understand how deep this really goes and how much we have been lied to by Ashton Kutcher and his team about his true character. Let me give you a little bit of background into an investigation that was done into the technology that Thorn uses in their day-to-day operation that will likely make you question the man who emotionally testified in front of the United States Senate, sharing his emotional plea to end child victimization in the United States.
My day job is as the chairman and the co-founder of Thorn. We build software to fight human trafficking in the sex of children. And that's our core mission.
So as we know, Thorn is a nonprofit organization that was created by Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher. Thorn is a group of people who utilize a specific technology. This technology is used to help identify child victims of SA and the adults who are harming them via explicit material of said child or children being harmed, and the photos or videos being uploaded onto the internet, typically for profit. The technology, the software that Thorn uses is a software that was created by Jeff Bezos' company, Amazon, and it's called Amazon Recognition. And this is a facial recognition software. Right off the bat, we are establishing the fact that Thorn and Amazon, Jeff Bezos and Ashton Kutcher, have a business relationship. The CEO of Thorn, Julie Cardua, has publicly stated that Amazon's recognition software has been an amazing partner to Thorn because of Amazon Recognition's ability to view and scan photos and videos of explicit material online of children being harmed, and then run those scans through national databases to try to identify victims and perpetrators. So virtually the way Thorn runs is because of this Amazon Recognition software. Notably, Amazon Recognition is not only partnered with Thorn, they have also in the past worked directly with law enforcement to sell or provide these law enforcement agencies with direct access to Amazon's recognition software, with the promise to help identify victims as well as perpetrators 65% faster than they're able to do with their less advanced software. At least that's the percentage that has been touted. So we know for a fact that Thorn works directly with law enforcement to help identify victims and perpetrators.
Using the software that we created, a tool called Spotlight. And in an effort to protect its capacity over time, I won't give much detail about what it does, but it's a tool that can be used by law enforcement to prioritize their caseload. It's a neural net. It gets smarter over time. It gets better and it gets more efficient as people use it.
And we also know Amazon and Amazon Recognition are partnered directly with law enforcement, giving them access to this software. So it almost feels to me like Thorn is this almost unnecessary middleman. But here's where it gets really messy, and I need you to stick with me here. In June of 2020, Amazon announced that they would be halting all sales and collaboration with police departments who were utilizing their Amazon Recognition software. And they would not be entering into any new collaborations or be doing any production with Amazon Recognition at least for 1 year, as the software had been found to be extremely unreliable, racially biased, and ultimately more unhelpful to authorities in the long run. Notably, it was discovered as early as 2017 that Amazon Recognition was unprecedentedly biased and inaccurate. But when these concerns were brought to Amazon's attention back in 2017, they refused to halt any production or collaboration with police departments or any other organization they were involved in, including Thorn. The New York Times covered an alarming study that was done testing the accuracy of Amazon's recognition software using sitting members of the United States Congress's photographs as a sample in this study. This study revealed that Amazon recognition falsely tied 28 sitting members of the United States Congress who were primarily people of color to mugshots who were factually and unequivocally not them. This study very clearly showed that Amazon recognition was an unreliable software, and even more terrifying, it seemed to have some sort of built-in racial bias, which is extremely dangerous. If this software was able to incorrectly identify 28 sitting members of Congress as people who had committed crimes as criminals, imagine what could happen if this software misidentified a regular civilian who is then charged with a crime they did not commit. And if this is the technology, which it is, that Thorn utilizes, does that not just exasperate the problem that Thorn is trying to use the software to fight against? Isn't the point to more accurately identify victims and perpetrators? How can we do that when this software has been proven to be deeply biased and inaccurate? Despite Amazon allegedly being aware of massive system issues going on with their facial recognition software, beginning in as early as 2017, it would not be until the unaliving of George Floyd and the reemergence of the Black Lives Matter movement in our society in a very big way, it wasn't until then that Amazon officially announced that they would be discontinuing their collaborations and partnerships and production and sales with law enforcement for at least a year. But strangely enough, when Amazon announced that they would be halting this program with law enforcement, they also announced that someone else would get to continue using this faulty software. Go to part 2.